YouTube, what's going on? This is Liston 3270 with ListonUnfiltered. This video is going to be about, you know, um, every era in boxing has a guy that's, a boogeyman. You know, um, from Sonny Liston, to George Foreman, to Ernie Shavers. There's a lot of boogeymen, a lot of really scary guys. I mean, even Mike Tyson. But one of the guys that, when I was getting into the sport and really starting to follow it, and I was younger, that was absolutely terrifying. That seems that many have forgotten him. But David, the Terminator Tua, was frightening. And, he was just scary. And he had this raw, brutal power, and he liked to go to the body. His left hook was from hell, and he was durable, and he was just a nightmare. Just a nightmare for a lot of guys in the division. And you don't hear anything about David Tua, and unfortunately, it's sad because I put him in that underrated category as well. I mean, I feel like David Tua is the typical definition of what a slugger is in boxing. And he was brutal. And had it not been for certain guys being in the division, Lennox Lewis, certain guys, that he couldn't beat. But, if it wasn't for that, he could have really been a champion and reigned for some time. Now, he didn't have the greatest boxing skills. He was slow on his feet. But, if he hit you with that hook, that left hook, you were gone. And, you know, I remember when he fought John Ruiz, and it was on HBO, and it's just it was it was unbelievable what he did to John Ruiz. It looked like he absolutely knocked his head off. That was a brutal knockout. If you haven't seen it and you can stomach a scary knockout, I'm sure it's on YouTube. Uh Man, I mean, and the fight had just started, and just boom, hit him with the left hook, hurt him, and he followed up with some shots, and oh man, it was truly devastating. Then I've discussed the Ike Ibeabuchi fight already with David Tua. Those guys just being so big and throwing these hellacious shots at each other, trying to really hurt one another. Now, even though Tua lost that fight, and Ike went on to win that fight, but Ike Ibeabuchi, they say suffered brain damage from that fight, from eating all the left hooks. He did, eating the left hooks from Tua in the fight. And they said his behavior radically changed, uh, and he began to be very, very strange after that fight. And I believe it. I do. He's really bugged out. Because Ike Ibeabuchi had some real talent too. But yeah, there's unfortunately there are these fighters that you have, you fight them and can absolutely ruin your career. And basically, for Tua, he fought Lennox Lewis too, and he couldn't win against Lennox Lewis. Hit Lennox Lewis with a few good shots, but a good boxer would give him trouble. But he was a monster. I mean, even you know he fought David Izon, and the shots that he was hitting David Izon with, another fight that should still be on YouTube if you want to check it out and see what I'm referencing when I'm bringing these fights up. But David Izon, you know, oh man, some of the shots he was taking from Tua, like they were just terrible. And like when you watch these fights, if you're like a big enough fan, you'll know, like, seeing these guys get hit with certain shots, you know that there's gonna be some type of damage there, brain damage and stuff. And I actually need to look up David Izon and see how he's doing today. I'm curious because that fight he was in was a brutal fight. And then there was Michael Moore, who one of my favorite light heavyweights, who was a killer there. And he didn't really get the respect at heavy when fighting certain guys, but he was the real deal too, and he was legit. But sadly for him, he fought Tua too, and out in the first round. You know, I think from what I remember, he got hit with a few good solid body punches, got in the corner, and Tua just trapped him off and hit him with a shot. I think it was like on the side of the head, if my memory serves me right. And he was gone, and it just Tua was brutal. It was absolutely brutal, and that left hook was from hell. That left hook was just really unbelievable, but definitely underrated. Definitely one of the real scary guys. I remember when I started really getting into boxing a lot. Tua was definitely that guy for me. So other boxing fans have, you know, they have Shavers and Cleveland Williams and Sonny Liston and Mike Tyson and all these guys. But David Tua definitely that guy for me. So that's gonna be it for this video. What are your opinions, boxing family, on David Tua? Are you a fan? You feel he's overrated, underrated? Let me know, and we'll chop it up in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And till next time, I'm out.